Absolutely.
Even though it's early?
Yeah, because if you fall asleep, you're gonna get beat. And, they can all shoot it, well enough where you got to guard them. And it's good competition. If you don't bring it in practice, that's the one thing I like about our team is we got competitive practices, and we're dividing the teams up evenly. And even if we didn't divide them up evenly, I'm not sure there'd be a huge gap in terms of skill and athleticism. There's maybe a huge gap in terms of experience. You put Ski and XJ and Josh, Wesley on one team, and some young guys in the other team. You're going to see a big difference based on experience and what they know how to play. But in terms of skill and athleticism, there's not a big gap.
You turn up the tempo this year a little bit.
We're trying, Tom. Yeah, we're trying to. We want to play.
What's the philosophy on that?
Well, the philosophy is it's easier to score before the defense is set. And when the defense is the hardest thing for us to coach is transition defense. When we're in transition, you don't have a man. You get out of position, you get mismatches. So we want to play fast, and but the whole key with playing fast is taking good shots. Playing fast is negated by taking bad shots, and it hurts you more than it'll help you if that's the case. And that's my job as a coach, is to make these guys understand what's a good shot and what's a bad shot. It's my job as a coach to take a guy out of the game if he's taking bad shots.
And then when you turn up the tempo, people think of guards. That helps the big men too.
Absolutely. Josh Scott, Wesley Gordon, even Torrey's starting to run the floor much better.
Yeah.
He's dropped 12 pounds. It's hard to practice. It seems. I mean, maybe since he started practice, but certainly since this fall when he got here, and so he's running better. So yeah, it helps our bigs, and that's one of the things that Josh does as well. And Wesley, when they run the floor, and you got guys like XJ and Wesley Thomas that can run the floor. Yeah, it's not just about the guard. It's about everybody.
In terms of speaking of the depth that you guys have at guard, kind of throughout the team, what's your preference in terms of how you like to move through a season with minutes distributed? Do you like to develop a rotation of 7, 8 guys, or would you love to go 10 deep? If you
I definitely would love to go as deep as you can. There's no question. The reality is once you get into the grind of the season, your rotation is going to be 8 to 9. But that 10th guy's got to be ready because an injury happens and foul trouble happens. I mean, that's sometimes the hardest spot on the team. That guy that's, I don't know if he's going to play 5 minutes or 25 minutes or at all. And those are the guys that really make a big difference as the season goes on. I mean, so it's just like when you evaluate leagues, you evaluate the Pac-12 or the Big 12 or the league. You don't evaluate the league at the top end. The top end's going to be good. You evaluate it in the middle and the bottom. That's basketball teams are the same way. We got good players. Our top 1, 2, 3 players are going to be good every year. How are 4, 5, 6, and 7 producing? How is that bottom end, 8, 9, 10 guys? How are they, approaching practice every day? And how do they play when their time comes? If that's good, the rest takes care of itself.
In past years, you'd be a week away from even practicing.
Yeah.
And how has that helped you as a coach?
Well, it's helped because you don't have to jam everything down their throats. You don't have to go 6 days on, 1 day off, 6 days on, 1 day off. It gives you a little bit more time, a little bit more patience. We can have shorter practices. We can have practices where we just do shooting and run the offense. You don't feel like you're losing ground. In the past, when you don't start till October 15th, you can't have those practices. Okay. You got to get everything in right away. So this gives us 42 days to put things in rather than 20 some days, whatever it was when we started before. So it lets you go at a little more of a leisurely pace, and you can take, you practice 2 days, take a day off. Practice 4 days, take a day off. This weekend, I'm giving them a 3-day weekend. This is the last weekend that they're going to have to go home. You got to stay guys until the end of the season, which, as you guys know, is a long time from now. So, it allows us to do that. We used to give them that weekend before October 15th off, and we're still going to give them that weekend off. But it allows us to get some work done before we do that. It's the best rule.
Now, are you able to work on fundamentals a little bit more?
Well, we always do that. Player development, that's not going to change. It's just what it means is you're going to be able to do it over a longer period of time, and you're not going to be as crunched for time. Instead of having to have a 3-hour practice, you're going to have a 2-hour and 15-minute practice. And
And then you can go over with the guys.
You can go over with the guys.
Soaks in a little bit more.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It takes it. Yeah, absolutely. Not. It's like cramming for a test or being able to study for a month before the test. It really helps if you got that lead time. As long as you're organized and you don't procrastinate. But right now we've got a lot of stuff in. What's nice about this team too is we've got for the most part we're a veteran team.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Torrey and we got Dom. Josh Fortune obviously is new, Josh Recon's new, but Torrey and Dom are the two guys that have a chance to play right away. That the rest of them are all returning and should know. That helps.
When Fortune decided to transfer, he told a couple of interviews where he cited your guys' player development, and especially when it came to guards.
Yeah.
When you hear that, what do you think? And I won't necessarily ask you to divulge your secrets on that, but why have you guys been so successful in developing
I think the credit goes to our coaching staff. Sean Prelo and Mike Brown, Rodney Phillips have done an unbelievable job since we've been here of working with these guys in the off season, working with them before practice, working with them after practice. And I don't think it's just our guards. I look at the development Josh Scott has made since he's been here. Mike Brown works in our bigs. I think player development is something that, as a program, as a staff, we take great pride in. And it gets back to our recruiting. When we recruit kids, we say there's three things that are non-negotiable when we recruit you. Number one is you have a high degree of character. Number two is that you have a great work ethic. And number three is that you love the game. And all three of those are deal breakers. If one of those three things doesn't exist, we're not going to bring you in the program. And if we do bring you in the program, you're not going to be successful in the program. If you're a bad character guy, we're going to get rid of you. If you don't work hard, you're not going to play. If you don't love the game, you're not going to get better, and you're going to be at the end of the bench. So those three things are pretty critical, and if you get those three things from your players, it makes our job easier. Because these practice gyms we have, guess what? They don't do us any good if they're not in there using them. We find out who's in there, who's not in there, and really it plays itself out. We find out who's in there, who's not in there. It all comes out in the wash. So, but I'll tell you what. Josh Fortune, I'm glad we got that guy. He's going to be terrific. He's got a great feel for the game, great mind for the game. He's got a great pace about him. He doesn't get sped up. And God, every time he shoots it, you think it's going in. We haven't had anybody since Levi where I felt like that.